Well, I'm going to begin with an invocation on Om, which it comes from the Taittiriya Upanishad. Om is spirit. Everything is but Om. Om permits. Om gives the signal. Om begins the ceremony. All chants begin with Om. All hymns begin with Om. The priest begins with Om. His commands are in the name of Om. The sacrificer offers the oblation with Om. The teacher begins with Om. The pupil begins with Om. The pupil, murmuring Om, seeks for spirit. In the end, he finds spirit. This evening, we will be examining the intrinsic nature of this sacred syllable, which is said to be omnipresent, meaning present everywhere, all at once. Omniscient, meaning universal or complete knowledge. And omnipotent, meaning having great power or influence. And it is said to be the most powerful and significant sound of all sounds. Om is distinguished by being entitled the Pranava Shabda. The Sanskrit definition of Pranava is cosmic sound, and Shabda stands for a word manifested by sound, which has innate power to convey a particular sense or meaning. Because of this, Pranava is said to be the primordial sound from which the universe originates. It is the most sacred of all mantra because it causes all sounds to unite with the divine. Hence, when sounding a mantra, it is preceded by the sounding of Om. For without Om, no sacred chant has its power. By the addition of Pranava to any mantra, a life-giving breath flows through it. Pranava Yoga is a technique for meditation, which is considered by many to be one of the classical forms of meditation, sometimes referred to as Om meditation. This is described in the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita, as well as Patanjali's Yoga Sutra and many other texts. To perform Pranava Yoga is to focus the mind on the mantra Om and to contemplate the sacred nature, repeating the mantra with each breath, which has a profound effect on the mind. Professor Deepa Sundaram, assistant professor of religious studies at the University of Denver, explains what the symbol of Om in Sanskrit stands for. She says, the lower left curve represents the conscious, waking state of being. The top left curve is the unconscious state. The lower right curve is the dream state, the state between waking and the unconscious. The semicircle at the top is the Maya state. Maya means illusion, the biggest obstacle to spiritual development. The dot at the top represents the absolute state, known as Turiya. This is the highest state of consciousness, the ultimate state, spiritual bliss, where you can just be, she says. Madame Blavatsky describes the state of Turiya at the beginning of the poem The Secret Doctrine in the word that she coined called beingness. She also refers to the Mandukya Upanishad on page 14 of the poem, wherein it is described as the unknowable and unthinkable. We will now hear the full description of Om given in the Mandukya Upanishad. This declares that the word Om is the imperishable, all this its manifestation, past, present, future, everything is Om. Whatever transcends the three divisions of time, that too is Om. There is nothing that is not spirit. The personal self is the impersonal spirit. It has four conditions. First comes the material condition, common to all. Perception turned outward, 7 agents and 19 agencies, wherein the self enjoys coarse matter. This is known as the waking condition. The Mandukya states that the 7 agents are heavens, head, sun, eye, air, breath, fire, heart, water, belly, earth, feet, and space, body. And it states that the 19 agencies are 5 organs of sense: hearing, touching, seeing, tasting, and smelling. 5 organs of action: speaking, handling, walking, generating, and excreting. 5 living fires, known as prana, apana, vyana, udana, and samana. Discursive mind, manas. Discriminative mind, buddhi. Mind material, chitta. And personality, ahankara. It states that the second condition is the mental condition, perception turned inward, 7 agents, 19 agencies, wherein the self enjoys a subtle matter. This is known as the dreaming condition. In deep sleep, man feels no desire, creates no dream. This undreaming sleep is the third condition, the intellectual condition. Because of his union with the self and his unbroken knowledge of it, he is filled with joy. His mind is illuminated. The Mandukya then states that the self is the Lord of all, inhabitant of the hearts of all. He is the source of all, creator and dissolver of beings. There is nothing he does not know. He is not knowable by perception, turned inward or outward, nor by both combined. He is neither that which is known, nor that which is not known. Nor is he the sum of all that might be known. He cannot be seen, grasped, bargained with. He is undefinable, unthinkable, indescribable. As previously mentioned, this was acknowledged by H.P.B. Blavatsky in her description of the first fundamental proposition as given in the Secret Doctrine. Mandukya then declares that the only proof of his existence is union with him. The world disappears in him. He is peaceful, the good, the one without a second. This is the fourth condition of the self, the most worthy of all. The self, though beyond words, is that supreme word, Om. I'm going to say that sentence again. This self, though beyond words, is that supreme word, Om. Though indivisible, it can be divided into three letters corresponding to the three conditions of the self. The letter A, the letter U, or U, and the letter M. The waking condition, called the material condition, corresponds to the letter A, which leads the alphabet and breathes in all the other letters. He who understands gets all he wants, becomes a leader among men. The dreaming condition, called the mental condition, corresponds to the letter U. It upholds, standing between waking and sleeping. He who understands upholds the tradition of spiritual knowledge, looks upon everything with an impartial eye. No one ignorant of spirit is born into his family. Undreaming sleep, called the intellectual condition, corresponds to the third letter, M. It weighs and unites. He who understands weighs the world, rejects, unites himself with the cause. The fourth condition of the self corresponds to Om as one indivisible word. He who is whole is beyond bargain. The world disappears in him. He is the good, the one without a second. Thus, Om is nothing but self. He who understands with the help of his personal self merges into the impersonal self. He who understands. Some of you will be aware that H.P. Blavatsky referred directly to these concepts laid down in her diagram meditation, which came out at about the same time that the Secret Doctrine was published. And many of you will recognize the Om symbol, which appears at the top of the emblem of the Theosophical Society of England and Wales. And to aid you in the deepening your understanding of the profound concepts expressed in the Mandukya, I will now read you HPB's own description of the prime sounds of Om and its four states of consciousness. She states that the sound Om is a fusion of three primal sounds, as we've heard, A, U, and Ma. Since all possible words contain at least one of these elements, the word Om contains all possible sounds. So Om is the entire universe and is all that is and all that can be. She makes the point, Mandukya Upanishad states that the self is Brahma and that it has four fundamental aspects. Modern Western philosophy recognizes three states of consciousness: waking, dreaming, and deep sleep states. Vedic philosophy talks about a fourth state, as well known as Turiya, and that, she says, makes all the difference. She continues, the first is the physical state of our waking experience, and this state is represented by the first sound, ah. Knowledge of the other three states depends on this state, she says. The second state is the dream state, where the dreamer creates the whole world entirely out of the stuff in his own mind, and is represented by the sound oo. The third state is the deep sleep state, where there is no subject-object division. It is not an unconscious state, but is conscious of nothing, a non-dual reality. This state is represented by the sound ma. The state beyond these three, which is called Turiya, means fourth. But in fact, it is not a state after the third. Turiya is transcendent and beyond the other three states, yet at the same time, it is immanent and intrinsic to the other three states. Turiya is another name for the all-pervading reality itself, Brahman. Hence, the second sutra and the Upanishads states, I am Atma Brahman. This Atman is Brahman. The silence beyond the three sounds of A, U, and Ma, and this is an ultimately significant statement, represents the cosmic reality itself, which is the self and the universe at the same time. Thus, the sacred sound Om is the core of the ancient Advaita philosophy of non-duality. The statements I have just read from both the Mandukya and from Madame Blavatsky are all worthy of our individual study and can be reflected on to gain deeper understanding of their intrinsic meaning. So now we will hear what Swami Sarvapriyananda, the leader of the Advaita Vedanta Center in New York, has to say on the mystic syllable Om in support of the statements we have already heard. He also refers to the waking, dreaming, and deep dreamless sleep, states that have been described, and he says that they all appear and disappear in the one light of consciousness, which is what you are. However, he says, understanding on the path of knowledge is not sufficient because we must go deeper into self-realization, as we need to recognize that we are this immortal, unchanging consciousness, Turiya, which literally means the fourth state. He says that these states appear and disappear in the same way that the universe appears and disappears. You appreciate that you are the observer of these three states which come and go, as when watching a play. The Swami reminds us of the analogy of the gold ring, necklace, and bracelet, which are all changing objects, but their intrinsic nature is gold, just in different forms. He emphasizes that this gold is available right here, right now. We will now hear some statements from Swayam Prakash Sharma, some of which also echo the teachings of the Mandukya Upanishad. he says, "The mystic syllable Om represents pure consciousness, the original source of all that which is manifested in the world. All forms, speech, thoughts, desires, as well as all that which remains unmanifested. Om is everything. All that is past, present, and future is Om. And that which is beyond time is also Om." The sacred sound of Om is the vibratory essence of creation, known at the hearts of all religions. This sound has been experienced by saints, sages, and mystics throughout recorded history. Om is the universal code. This sound is the source of all revelation to the masters. It is because of this that they know and teach one another the same truth. Turiya is the underlying reality from which all states of waking arise. All states of dreaming arise. All states of deep sleep arise, and into which they ultimately merge. Turiya is like the soil in which all the plants, flora, and fauna grow. It is the underlying reality from which the plants grow, live, and are absorbed. This divine reality manifests itself as Bhagawan. In its unmanifest state, it is Brahm, and in our hearts, it is Paramatma. The ancient science of Om fully unites the universe or creation with the absolute spirit. It conceives the sacred sound as the essence of the universe, infinitely emanating as cosmic vibrations, perceivable by the souls absorbed in listening to the cosmic sound. It is divine intelligence in creation. This cosmic vibration is inaudible to the human ear, but it can be heard intuitively, inwardly, by the ear of intuition. People sometimes get a hint of it in places where there is complete silence. They may hear a soft hum or a gentle murmur in the whisper of wind in the trees. The sound emerges from no discernible point in space, but seems rather to come from everywhere. Patanjali compares the sound to oil flowing smoothly out of a barrel. When it is heard in quiet surroundings, it isn't so much a spiritually uplifting experience as a simple whisper, like that of a waterfall from afar. It may well be, in fact, that hearing some of these quotations is what inspired me to give this talk, because I'd like now to give you a description of experiencing this myself some years ago. So I'm just going to read this to you. I myself once had this experience at the end of a week on holiday by the sea in West Sussex. My young family and I had spent a wonderful week going on walks, sea bathing, eating and sleeping well, and even finding time to fit in meditation with young children at our feet. On the last day of the holiday, I was walking by the edge of the sea, and bidding it farewell with a sense of gratitude, great gratitude, when I became aware of this soft humming sound of Om that was reverberating gently everywhere. It seemed like the most natural thing to be experiencing, so that I hardly thought of it as being unusual. As when listening to the gentle humming of a bee, or the buzz of a fly, or the flapping of bird wings, or, as has been mentioned, the whisper of the wind. It was only in retrospect that I recalled it as a rather unique experience, which provided the incentive to commit to living a life more mindful of this spirit, which encompassed nature all around me. Although we may not hear the sound of Om clearly at first, concentration on its sound can help us to gradually attune our consciousness to this most subtle cosmic vibration, which is everywhere and in everything. Here is the etymology of the word mantra and its meaning, which was given in a previous talk I gave on Sanskrit language of the gods, which I think is worth mentioning again. The word mantra is derived from two Sanskrit words, seed words, man, which is mind, and tra, which comes from the root form trai, T-R-A-I, to protect or free from. Therefore, the word mantra in its most literal sense means to free from the mind. The journey of mantra to freedom is a wondrous one. The mind expands, deepens, widens, and eventually merges with the essence of cosmic experience and existence. Mantra can be said to be the highest form of philosophy because it provides the concentrated form of language necessary to embody the highest truths beyond our physical reality. Distinguished American Vedic astrologer David Frawley said that mantra is a deeper level of speech that reflects the laws of the universe, known as dharma in Sanskrit. That is why in mantra yoga, different sounds correspond to the natural and spiritual forces through which the universe operates, starting with Om itself as the cosmic word. Mantra yoga provides us with the means to understand the sacred sounds from the perspective of a tradition that puts mysticism into an organized and codified spiritual science. Mantra yoga improves the qualities inherent in sound itself, through which words and meanings are properly formed. It shows how sounds affect the nervous system, mind, and heart, and how we can modify them to improve our lives, regardless of what background or tradition we personally follow. Some of us may wish to consider what the personal benefits to chanting the Om mantra are, and there is nothing wrong with this at all. After all, it is an investment of our time on earth, which is very precious to us. Dr. I pronounced his name correctly. Dr. Hassanji Yokendra from the Yoga Institute has this to say on the benefits of chanting Om. Om is the sacred sound of the divine and represents the sound of the universe. Because it is a sound and a symbol that denotes spirituality, when chanted correctly, it fills our body with energy, peace, and tranquility. In quantum physics, every particle has its own vibration, so the whole world has its own vibration, and its finest particles have their own frequency. He states that all of us have our own frequencies. Om is the first sound or vibration. We are born into the atmosphere of this sound. The whole world is within you. So when we listen to this sound, we are connecting to the whole world. The doctor advises, between activities, connect to your breath by sounding Om as you breathe in and out. The sound of Om is a very strong medium for concentration. You can feel the vibration within. He says that the first system that gets channeled is the nervous system. The mind is totally focused and cannot go here and there, so there is full concentration. Then your mind becomes steady and stable, so your internal knowledge increases because of this connection to Om. Your heart rate slows down, and conditions like high blood pressure are settled. Blockages are dissolved, and your hormones come into balance. Properly using Om, you will feel the vibration rise upwards from the navel to the palate, using all the muscles. He then advocates, try practice sounding Om 10 times in the morning and 10 times in the evening. And by practicing it, you will receive the benefit. And that is the benefit of love, which would come from the whole universe. Sadhguru has stated that when a human being becomes silent by his own nature, the sound Om will reverberate in the system, because the root sound for your physical existence is the sound Om. When Om reverberates, it starts from just beneath the navel and ends at the tip of your nose. This reverberation will happen just by itself. Finally, here's a relay of a practical session in Om mantra chanting, led by yoga teacher Surabhi Sharma. Om is not just a mantra. It is a kind of pranayama. After inhaling, as we exhale and sound Om, the out-breath takes longer than the inhalation, which really helps to calm mind and body down. We then combine the sound, because the sound creates vibration, and the vibration gives rise to energy. We combine the sound with the breath, and this also calms us down. So first of all, you sit in any comfortable position. It doesn't matter where you are sitting, as long as your position is correct. Your spine is in its natural curve, so you don't slouch down and you aren't leaning against the wall or a chair. And in this way, your spine should be comfortable, erect. When we have the spine in this posture, in this position, it energizes all 7 main chakras, which are aligned along the spine. She continues, allow your attention to rest in the breath and the sound. Feel the vibrations of the sound reverberating in the body. Om is chanted in 3 different parts, A, U, and Ma. The sound A arises from Para, the region of the navel. So you feel the vibration in the lower region of the body, and the lower chakra becomes activated. The U sound vibrates in the middle region of the body. So when we sound U, we will feel the vibration energizing our middle chakra. When we sound the sound vibrates in our upper chakra region. So when we join these 3 sounds in one continuous flow together, the vibration moves slowly up through our lower chakras, slowly up the spine to our higher chakras, and this sound energizes our whole body and mind. After the 3 letters A, U, and Ma are sounded together to form Om, there is a pause in silence so that it's Om. This is Turiya, which is the 4th state. It is said that Om is being chanted all over the world millions of times a day. So why not join in? Let's join in with all those who are chanting Om. To end this talk, here is a quotation from the Bhagavad Gita, which Lord Sri Krishna is advising Prince Arjuna on how to meet with life and death. It comes from chapter 8. Krishna says, "One who thinks of me at the time of ultimate transit by repeating the word Om attains the highest state of samadhi because it is the supreme combination of letters." Hari Om Tat Sat. And that finishes the talk. Thank you.